Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's Gaming Friday. I'm Gary.
And I'm the embodiment of all your sins.
And today we are taking a look at a very special game in my memory. That is Silent Hill, which was released on the 31st of January 1999, published and developed by Konami and Team Silent, and released on the PlayStation, and then re-released on the PlayStation 3 and on the PlayStation Portable. Yes. Silent Hill is a survival horror game, and I can almost say the survival horror game. This for me is whenever I think or somebody mentions survival horror, Silent Hill is number one on my list.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Team Silent was the development group with Konami who made the first 4 games in the series.
Wow. Before
being disbanded by Konami itself. And Konami, when they were making this game, really wanted a Western appeal.
Okay.
They wanted it to be successful outside of Japan.
Yeah.
And eventually started working with other Western game developers, such as Climax Studios and Double Helix Games, who worked on the Silent Hill, like Downpour and so on. And the series composer, I'm sorry for the Japanese names, Akira Yamaoka.
Okay.
He said he thinks it's funny that Team Silent was actually comprised of staff whose other projects had all failed.
Ouch.
And they were kind of all brought together. And a lot of them were all thinking of just leaving the company because all of their projects failed.
Yeah.
And obviously after Silent Hill was a huge success, a few of them stuck around for the sequels, but a lot of the teams sort of diminished. The first game's director, Kichiro Toyama, he directed the first game and then left and never worked on another Silent Hill game. He went off to develop the Siren series of games. And then we have Masasha Tsuboyama, who directed Silent Hill 2 and then did artwork for Silent Hill 4 The Room.
Yeah.
Then we have Kazuhide Nakazawa, who directed Silent Hill 3 and then went to work for Kojima Productions. Now, development began for Silent Hill back in 1996, which was a pretty big year, as that was the year that Capcom released Resident Evil.
Right, okay,
and as I said, Konami wanted a game that would sell to American audiences, and so they wanted a Hollywood-like feel and atmosphere for Silent Hill. Konami at the time gave Team Silent creative freedom on the project, and Team Silent pretty much ignored that brief from Konami and set about making that a game that would appeal to the emotions of the player instead. Team Silent created a game that would play on the fear of the unknown in an attempt at psychological horror in video game. In doing so, the story was made to be vague, really, at first glance. You don't really know what's going on. And it's only when the player starts to reflect upon the events that have occurred, you know, the riddles and the notes and files that are scattered throughout Silent Hill. Only when you have them all can you really see the whole picture and then appreciate the story. Yeah. And of course, this game has many, many influences, also mainly borrowing from David Lynch movies, especially. Iain, did you ever play the Silent Hill series of games?
Oh, fucking hells yes. The first time I ever saw Silent Hill, a friend of mine had obviously had his PlayStation chipped and was purchasing, you know, pirated games, shall we say. And he came back and he said, you know, I've got this game called Silent Hill, and it's just like, oh really, I haven't heard of it. We put it in, and obviously you watch the opening sequence with that music playing that starts to draw you in. You see the car crash, you come out of the car and you start chasing after your daughter. And what really got me was, unlike Resident Evil that we'd obviously just come off the back of, where it was all enclosed inside a house, Silent Hill is just like, yeah, here's the town. And you can run around the town. And the way that it was designed, I thought was absolutely brilliant. That you would come to locked doors and locked gates, and then roads would be completely missing. You know, the fog. I know nowadays that's because of the draw distance, but it works so brilliantly that you don't know what's, you know, further ahead.
Exactly, because you can't see it.
You can't see it. You know, the introduction of the radio to warn you about monsters coming along. The monsters themselves were absolutely, you know, out of your worst nightmares at certain points. I mean,
Yeah.
look at all that blood on the floor. You're like, what the fuck is that?
I'll just go stand in it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I did Silent Hill 1, I did Silent Hill 2, I loved Silent Hill 2. Thought Silent Hill 2 is definitely the best in the series. Silent Hill 3, I didn't get a chance to play because I'd come off PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I was heading
Went
into
to Xbox.
I was heading into Xbox, and obviously it was only available on the PlayStation 1, I think it was, and PlayStation 2 was just already out. So I was waiting for it to be redeveloped so I could play it, but I never got a chance. Silent Hill 4 came out. I remember you gave me it, and you said, I can't do this game. It's too fucking hard. So I sat down and I played it through, and I had to learn. I had to learn to play Silent Hill games again because Silent Hill 4 was different to the other 3 before it.
Yeah. Well, in some regards, yes.
In some
it's
regards,
still very much a Silent Hill game.
Yeah, but the first person mode in the apartment, I mean, that was very unnerving. You know, answering the phone, looking out the door, all that kind of stuff, and then climbing through this weird hole into the Silent Hill world where you're so used to beating the monsters to death with your stick.
Yeah.
Where in Silent Hill 4, you had to beat them down and then either put a candle on them, which was very rare to find, to stop them from getting back up again, or to stab them with a sword, which was even rarer
right.
to find. So you found yourself mainly running a lot of the times. I did Homecoming on the PSP, which took me back to the Silent Hill roots, and was very enjoyable. I didn't do Downpour because I kind of imagined what was going to happen. It wasn't a game for me. But I always wanted to do Shattered Memories on the Wii.
Right.
Because it was a retelling of Silent Hill 1. Look at that. That's awesome. You know, it was a retelling of Silent Hill 1, but you had no weapons.
Yes.
You had to rely
you were limited, yeah.
Yeah, you had to rely on hiding from the monsters.
And running.
Oh, here they come.
Now, this is one of the greatest moments in game for me where, you know, first time ever playing this, you know, you come into this area and you're being attacked by monsters. You've got no weapon and you're just running in the dark with this lighter in front of you.
Yeah.
And there's no way out. If I get to this door down the end here, I'm pretty sure you're just going to get
locked.
Yeah.
It's just locked, yeah.
Blocked by a fence. Question? What is this?
Yeah, you're just like,
how do
what
I
the
get out?
hell?
And basically you just have to accept it. And as you can also see, Harry can't take that many hits before he dies.
Yeah. I remember we died at that part the first time we played it, and somebody hit reset.
Yeah, it was like, we'll try it again.
So we had to sit through it all over again and realised after
you're
that you have
supposed to die. So, you know, the story in this game is you control Harry Mason as he's, as you said, searching for his missing adopted daughter Cheryl in the fictional American town of Silent Hill. You will encounter a cult that has been conducting a ritual to revive a god that they worship, and then you will also discover your adopted daughter's true origin. There is a lot of interesting characters in the game, and depending on some of the actions that you take will also impact on the 5 different endings or variations of the ending. I think the very first ending I ever got for this game on first completion was after the car crash that you saw at the beginning.
Yeah.
It cuts back there and Harry's a corpse.
Yeah.
In the driver's seat of that car. And it was like, oh wow, it was all in his head.
Yeah,
Did he die? Did it happen?
That was the same one I got because you don't save certain characters in time.
I mean, Sybil, the character we're being introduced to here, she will aid you at certain points in the game, but there's a point where she'll turn up and try to kill you.
Yeah.
And if you've gone and explored the town of Silent Hill and found this special sort of red blood, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it's something special that you're supposed to use on her to take her out, but to keep her alive.
It gets rid of the parasite, and then she's alive, and so then she'll turn up at the end of the game. Also, there's the Dr. Kaufman.
Yeah.
And so there's all of these little variations that can all impact on the different endings. And of course, the 5th ending is one of my favourite endings.
Yes.
It's where, after completing the game a couple of times, you'll get a device which you use at certain locations when you see strange lights in the sky.
Yeah.
Which then, once you've gone to the last place, which I think was the lighthouse, UFOs will descend on Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And abduct you.
That's it, and that's the end of the game.
And the game ends halfway through completion.
But you get the laser gun.
You get to then play a new playthrough with the alien laser gun, which is a one-hit kill on everything.
Yeah.
Including bosses.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I like the different endings and the different interpretations.
Yeah.
So the gameplay, you know, Silent Hill consists of the major gameplay mechanics of a survival horror. Exploration, combat, puzzle solving. You know, it's tank controls, third-person survival horror, but at its finest. The camera is usually always behind the player, though it will change when dramatic effects or certain camera angles where the camera will move around the environment to give you that creepy, you're being watched sort of feeling. Also, what I really like about the game is that there is no heads-up display.
Yes.
You cannot tell how much health you've got, how much ammo's in the gun. You have to check a separate menu to find out.
If you've got a vibrating joypad, the more damage you take, the more the joypad will vibrate. It
rumbles like a heartbeat.
Yeah, and you're like, I need to replenish my health. The same with when Harry's running. You're running like hell, and then you have to actually, once you stop, he has to stop and take a breath.
Yes.
Because he's pushed himself too far, and that slows you down.
It gives you the feeling of him being an ordinary person.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, maps are scattered throughout different areas in the game. That also then highlights which areas are accessible to you. But you can only actually check the map if you're standing in sufficient light. So if you're in a really dark and horrible place, you can't actually check the map. It's too dark.
But you've always got that little lamp on you.
True, yes. So I was going to collect some health drinks, of course. Like your first aid sprays. There's the flashlight. And I think that's how we save game here. Yeah, someday somebody may experience these bizarre events, so I'll leave notes as to what happened here. And so, yeah, each map, when you do pick up the map, I think there was a map just back there on the side.
Yeah, you're still getting used to the...
I'm still trying to remember the controls right now, yeah. So, also, if you like the map, there's lots of names to famous authors or horror characters.
Yeah.
And I just saw something creepy and horrible in the background.
Yeah, flying around. It reminds me a lot of Phantoms.
Definitely, yes. They just want the phone to ring and the voices to come through. It's a radio. It seems to be broken. I wonder if that'll come into play later.
Yeah.
Take the knife. I've got the gun, but I'm going to take the knife too, because obviously ammo is fairly sparse.
Yeah, the ammo's fairly sparse, but at the same time, I like the way that the game allowed you to take weapons like that. So you've got like a tiny little knife. You've got a big stick. Yeah. You know, it's like we said, unlike Resident Evil, they gave you guns and the ammo was sparse, so you had to work out the combat. In this, it was a case of, right, okay, I've got a gun, but I want to save the ammo. I'm going to use this old wooden stick.
I've only got 15 rounds in it right now, so yeah. Just trying to figure out how to put the flashlight on. I'm going to equip the knife anyway, because I just know that creature outside wants in here.
Yeah.
So I do like that the map that you saw earlier, when you find sort of quest-related markings or notes or doors that are open or closed or pathways that are blocked, Harry will, like a red marker pen, sort of highlight it on the map. Oh, look, the radio's on. I wonder what that could mean.
Yeah. The map worked a lot in this game. I mean, in Resident Evil, you had your map, but the issue was that you had to remember all the different places you had to go. Oh, combat sequence.
Right, now I'm going to try and figure out how to attack it successfully. I can't pick up the radio just yet. Right, just get the knife and... Oh, he hit me first. And I'm going to swing away. And he hit me again. So you've got to time the attack, because if you attack first, the creature will come in that opening and hit you afterwards. And so if you try and repeat that timing, you've got no chance. So there is two methods of attack with weapons. You can just keep spamming the button to do quick attacks.
Yeah.
You can also hold the button down
and do
heavy attacks. But right now, that creature has only attacked me a couple of times, and I've just used up all my health drinks. So, right, now that's it. Now I've got the gun, and I still can't... Now, as we also know, Harry is terrible with a gun.
I thought it had auto-aim in this game. I'm sure it had auto-aim.
It does have auto-aim, and I'm trying to aim it at him, but, like... The game designers programmed Harry so that he wouldn't always aim his shots. Oh,
you died!
I'm dead.
You died.
Any one creature can just take you down. You know, you have to master the art of maneuvering and running. Like, the game's telling me tips now.
Yeah, the game is telling you. Well, it's been at least what?
It's been a long time since I played this one.
Obviously, if I was playing it, the creature would have been already dead.
Of all of the Silent Hill games, this is the one that I completed the most. I completed this one, got all of its different endings, unlocked all of the special weapons.
Yeah.
I think there's like a power drill. Yeah. There's a katana sword.
There's a chainsaw. There's a katana sword, but you have to You play for it once.
You get graded. You get skill. Basically, the game rewards you depending on how quickly you completed it, how little amount of times you've saved it.
But you still have to pick them up in game. And so when you go to the area where the weapon, where the chainsaw is, and you've got the other weapon next to it.
Yeah.
I think there is actually a chainsaw, power drill, and a samurai sword.
Yes. Yeah. All in this game. Yeah.
And you get to it, but you can only pick one up.
Right.
So then at the end of that playthrough, you start again, and then you
can basically accumulate all of the weapons in the end.
Yeah, before you know it, by the 6th playthrough, you've got everything.
Yeah.
And you know everywhere
and then
to go.
You know how to basically keep playing until you get all of the different endings.
Yeah.
Right, this time I'm going to get this creature. I'm getting it this time.
Are you sure?
I'm going to try. I was going to make some distance. The thing is, like with Resident Evil, if you run away and then aim the trigger, you automatically lock onto the enemies. You at least need to be facing the enemy. And now I've just put him straight down.
Yeah.
You
pressed up and aimed. Yeah.
So, you mentioned it earlier. The limitations of the PlayStation 1 forced the development team to have the very small draw distance and obscure the path with the thick fog that shifted as you move through the town.
Yeah.
This effect and atmosphere created for me that really strong sense of isolation, which again, in turn, helped build that fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Now, one thing that did annoy the hell out of me playing the game is I get disorientated and confused, on the best of days.
Very easily, yeah.
When you look at the map and you go, I'm facing this way, and then you look into the empty street and you can't really see whether you're looking north, south, east, or west, whether you're crossing the road or crossing an intersection. And then you look at the map and you go, how did I end up down here? I thought I was facing this way. I've come out now, and I think this is the way that I need to go. I probably needed to go right.
See, this has been the part where I would have stopped, checked the map after 5 or 6 steps, and gone, right, okay, I'm going the right way or not.
True, but there's one thing that the game does reward the player for doing, and you don't see that in many survival horror games, is that you have this massive open area, and there are items. Yeah, we'll just check now. I've gone completely the wrong way, but I can see I can go up this back alleyway here and hopefully get back up and be on track.
Yeah.
But when you go off and explore, you will find ammo, health, health drinks, the health packs, different weapons, different clues, different file notes. Which will
stuff that kind of just makes it
builds the whole world.
The town alive. Like you'll come across like different houses.
Yes.
And you're just like, well, what's going on?
So here? I've just come in here and gone in through this back gate fence, and I don't know what's back here, and that's gross.
It's a dog's head.
That is a dog's head. Somebody's been playing basketball with a severed dog's head.
Yep. Nice.
And at least I got a drink and a key. And obviously, like any good survival horror game, you find keys. Then you have to go find the doors that they open, and it's not this one. If I remember rightly, I think I need to go and find a dog's kennel.
Yes.
And then get another key.
I know. I think the house is connected to a dog's kennel. You come up to a dog's kennel, you'll see blood there, and you can use that key to go through the house,
right,
to come out the other side because the road is blocked.
Yes. A lot of the roads have been chewed up,
and it's like I found with this map. Like I said, with Resident Evil, it didn't mark you where you had gone or what doors you gone into, but the more I would find myself in all of the Silent Hill games checking every door, marking them off on the map,
whether it's open, locked, or unlockable.
It didn't matter. Checking every single road, so that after about half an hour, maybe an hour of playing before I've even gone to my objective, I look at the map and go, can't go that way, can't go that way, gotta go that way. So that's the way I'm going.
Instead
of just running around in circles.
Now, sometimes, as you can see what I'm doing right now, I'm just going from door to door. I'm just like, can this door open? Can this door open? Is this just scenery?
It's just scenery.
Yeah, I know, but it's part of my memory of childhood is just going to every single door. Like, maybe there's this one.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in this one, because you just didn't know. Now, a big distinguishable feature about this game, and in its sequel, Silent Hill 2, is the how Silent Hill manifests its monsters.
Yes.
They're not just monsters just drawn up from, a D&D monster book, They are spawned from the player character's darkest and most horrific fears and memories.
Yeah.
Now, it's different in this game because in Silent Hill 1, you're not fighting Harry's manifestations.
Yeah.
You're fighting the manifestations and fears of Alessa.
Yes.
And Alessa, small spoilers here for you for now, but Cheryl and Alessa are kind of one and the same.
Yeah.
It's a soul split in two. And so these manifestations share, I guess, both of their fears.
Yeah.
And Alessa, basically, she was afraid of insects and bugs and worms and flying creatures. And you can see the elementary school there right now.
Yeah,
she believed that a giant lizard lived in the basement of the school when really it was just the horrible rumbling noises of the school boiler. But as a child's imagination basically would then manifest that monster, and it would basically be the first major boss in the game.
Yes.
One of those bosses that can also just one-hit kill you if you just stand around in the jaws of the creature, as I learned back along. But also Alessa, you find out in the game, enjoyed books such as The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. Big fan of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. And so those themes and those creatures and monsters bleed into Silent Hill. And those memories and fears are apparent in the game.
I remember at the same time this game created a lot of controversy with
definitely
with some of the stuff that was in there. I mean, obviously beating creatures to death like a zombie dog with a pipe was very frowned upon.
Well, there was the major hiccup the game had on trying to get a release outside of Japan was the Grey Child monster.
Yes,
which is a knife wielding naked children running around the school. And the American and European censors were like, just no, because not only are they naked, not only are they wielding knives, but you have to beat them with a metal stick or shoot them. It's and the noises that they made were also pretty horrific. So they had to be redesigned 4 times before they finally got released. And the very first time I played this game and went to the school and saw those creatures, I was like, those are children monsters. Like, so even though they've gone through all these redesigns, I'm like, I still know exactly what it is.
Yeah, what creeped me out even more was the ones that just disappear.
Yes, the phantom type looking ones.
You've got the solid ones, but then you've got ones that actually just end up disappearing on you, and that freaked me out even more because they're there, but they're not really there, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on?
Now you can see I'm trying to use the melee weapon here. I managed to hit it a few times. It's kind of limping away, and now I can't hit it. I'm praising this game. I mean, Resident Evil's combat system, it's fine, but the melee system in Resident Evil's, I mean, running around with the knife is just impractical in the Resident Evil games. In this game, the melee system is a lot more it's a lot better programmed. But it's still with its issues. And I also like the fact that you can have the weapon in poised to attack mode and still move around.
Yes.
And it's only when you learn how to sidestep and maneuver some of the enemies that, ammo conservation will not be a big issue for you. I also think it's great that on this game's initial release, it sold more than 2 million copies at launch. And that was massive for the time.
Yeah.
But that number, I can only imagine now, is much, much higher with all of the digital downloads and all of the re-releases that the game has had.
Yeah.
It had a very positive high score on Metacritic when it came out. It still holds that. Some game companies still see Silent Hill, or I did at the time, as a generic Resident Evil clone. Shooting and bashing monsters in a horror setting with limited supplies and only one life.
The story's so much better.
The story of Resident Evil is very Hollywood, whereas Silent Hill for me is a departure from Resident Evil's haunted house, secret labs, experimentations, super soldiers, and corrupt mega corporations.
Yeah.
Silent Hill is a very different kind of horror, one that is, it's in your face when you see, skinned, flayed corpses in chains and that sort of thing. But it's only when you reflect upon some of the things that you've seen and some of the things that you've done that every revelation in this game just adds to that nightmare. It's not, in this sense, it's not just the jump scare that never comes.
You ran into a wall.
I ran into I'm kind of doing that a lot. I'm trying to maneuver and run away from the dogs. I was like, I want the health pack, want to run away, don't want to fight them. Because, with a group of enemies like that, your best chance, as with most survival horrors, is to just run. So, there's one last major thing that I want to talk about with this game. And that is the music, as I said, by Akira Yamaoka, or Yamaoka. I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He composed the music, but he worked independently from Team Silent. He didn't really want to see what visuals that they were creating, what monsters they were doing. He wanted to work on his own. And in my opinion, he made one of the most unique soundtracks to a video game ever. He aimed to make music that would differentiate Silent Hill from all other video games, and he's done that.
Yeah.
And for me, it has that rusty, cold, edgy feel about it that it just makes the sound like violent noise. And this dog is doing my head in now because I'm trying to swing for it and it keeps backing away and getting its hits in. And I think it's funny that when Team Silent first heard the music for the game, they thought the game had crashed or had a bug because the music just sounded so bad. It didn't sound like the music that they had imagined would appear in the game. And so it's only after Akira explained the reasoning behind the music and the game that they realized that this music marries the gameplay perfectly.
Yeah.
Personally, I rank the opening music to Silent Hill as one of the greatest and most memorable soundtracks for a video game ever. Still, after all this time, that music gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it does.
The nervous tingles. It just reminds me of all of the horrors I faced throughout the whole series of games. The melody, the scratchy, offbeat noise.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. The sound effects in the game are also on point. The horrible death rattles of enemies, the blood-curdling noises that just set you on edge, the constant fuzz noise from the radio alerting you that something is near, the constant banging of pipes that crescendo and get louder and frenetic pace before subsiding again.
I was going to say when that air raid
the siren
kicks off,
that signals the change of Silent Hill into the hellish rustic landscape.
And everything that you've already been through is quite scary, but when it turns into the Silent Hill world,
the monsters are deadlier, they're faster, they're stronger, the music's more intense. Just to add to the flavor of the noise that the game designers made. For some of the noise in the music, they used a dental drilling machine.
Oh.
And so that high-pitched noise?
Yeah.
That's used in the game soundtrack. That's the level that they went to. And so even though you don't know it's a dentist machine, part of your brain, if you especially have a fear of dentists and drills, it just adds, there's just one more layer of that psychological horror.
Yeah.
Which to me is just it's just a masterstroke in music. Now, I also remember there's there's dead space right there.
Yeah.
There's a character in the game called Lisa.
Lisa, the nurse.
The nurse, yes. Nurse. No, of course the nurses are, another manifestation of Alessa's nightmares, because we find out that she spent lots of time in hospitals or was being looked after by a nurse, and so therefore the nurse became a creature monster. But the character of Lisa, I find her fascinating. And of all of the characters, a lot of people go, "Oh, what's the worst character death in video games?" And everyone goes, "Oh, Eris from Final Fantasy VII."
Yeah.
For me, it was losing Lisa in Silent Hill.
Yeah, because you couldn't save her at all.
At all. But, I've gone through and got the good ending. I've saved Sybil, I've saved Alessa, Cheryl, baby thing, defeated the Dark God, but I cannot save Lisa. And she was a drug addict, you find out, and she was being kept employed basically by Kaufman, who was just saying, you keep working for me, I'll keep the drugs coming for you.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what drove her into becoming one of the horrible creatures. But the music that plays when her transformation is occurring, I remember the first time experiencing it, and it was so sad. The piano music that when you leave the room and you hear her in the other room sort of sobbing and crying and becoming the monster, and the music played, I just put the controller down and just sat there, just on the other side of the door, just listening, just I am powerless to do anything.
Can't do anything. You just watch all that blood come down her face in the cut sequence. And you're just there's nothing.
So damn
I don't
good.
even want to put you down because that will just make me feel even fucking worse.
Right. And so it's always made me sad, and it's just one of those things I just always wish there'd be a sixth ending. I could save that nurse.
Yeah.
But I highly rate this game. It's a masterpiece. It's easily one of the best, if not the best in the genre, although arguably this game's sequel can also take that top spot because it was everything that this game did refined.
Yes.
For the second
graphics
one.
The graphics were better. I mean, this is obviously what we remember the game to look like on the PlayStation 1. When Silent Hill 2 came out on the PlayStation 2, everything just looked nicer.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you didn't have fog, you could see stuff in the distance, but you had to know you were going there. You know, and it was off-putting even more knowing you could see it in the background. There's that sequence in Silent Hill 2 where you're on the boat.
I was just thinking that. I was like, but you're trying to row to a lighthouse.
Yeah.
But you can't even see the light in the fog.
You just got to keep
keep
rowing.
going. You're like, am I going in a straight line? Have I missed a turning?
That's it. As soon as the light appears, you're just like, I've got to keep heading there, but I don't really want to.
Yes.
You know, it just...
There was lots of labyrinth-type mazes as well, and you know, when you're playing the game and you end up getting to the next destination, you're like, I kind of went through that maze first time.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why the other games in the series, I didn't feel like doing a second playthrough because the maps felt like they changed. Like, it didn't matter in this maze, which door you went through, you would still get to your destination.
Yeah.
And that terrified me back then. And so I never really revisited Silent Hill 2 because also Pyramid Head was just a beast.
Yeah,
you know, it's obvious why he would keep appearing in later sequels. And so, so Silent Hill 2 came out in 2001. Silent Hill 3 in 2003. And I didn't play that game on its release, same as you.
Yeah.
I went back and re-explored Silent Hill 3 with the HD collection, which came out in 2012.
Right.
The same year as Silent Hill Downpour. Of course, Silent Hill 4 The Room in 2004, Silent Hill Origins in 2007.
Yeah, that was it.
Homecoming in 2008, Shattered Memories in 2009. And then, you know, this series was, you know, it already scratched the surface because after Silent Hill 4 The Room, everything that they released was just inferior in quality and in substance and you know, once Team Silent had departed Konami, the whole franchise just kind of floundered. And
there's not really much more you could go for it. I mean, we already understood the psychological aspects of Silent Hill. You know, in the first one you were purposely going to the town for these reasons. Then every other game was just like, oh, Silent Hill's just the hell of that character. So it kind of, for me, it did slightly lose a bit as the games went on, because I'm like, I'm not going to Silent Hill, I'm going to this person's rendition of what Silent Hill means to them.
Right.
And so things all started to change, and you know, that's why, like I said, Silent Hill 1 is iconic to me, Silent Hill 2 is iconic to me, Silent Hill 4 was just as good because it expanded a little bit more, but you were going back to this hellish area. And then I'm just like, every other game after was people just ending up in Silent Hill. You know, strange circumstances brought them there. And they just had to work their way back out again.
For me, it was the films that came out in 2006 and 2012.
Oh, they're not that bad.
There was also the comic books, the arcade on the rail shooters, mobile games, toys, collection figures, novels. But the movies fucked up the game's storyline. They got it all wrong.
We're not doing this.
I'm not going to go into it now, but they
Revelations isn't that
they
bad.
Clearly didn't understand what was happening in this game when they made the films.
But then compare it to the other game series
of
films. At least Silent Hill does little nods that you accept in the other.
I also think it's
series.
a shame though that the Silent Hill franchise for me is now over. You know, Silent Hills, the cancelled game.
Oh yeah, that was
the
so
PT
upsetting.
demo. Kojima, you know, and Del Toro was one of the first ones to turn around and say, "Fuck Konami." Fuck Konami, because they lost the point. So the real spiritual successor, in a way, would be Death Stranding, which is...
You missed the wood. You're supposed to go back there, guy.
Well, we're going to bring this episode to an end now anyway. I just want to say that if you've never played Silent Hill, definitely go back and check out Silent Hill. It's a masterpiece.
It may seem a bit dated, but a lot of games are anyway. If you've never had the chance, you're in for a ride, and it will open up the doorway for you to finish off Harry's story in Silent Hill 3. You know, find out Oh, I can't remember what the guy's called in Silent Hill 2.
James,
that's right. You know, checking out James's story in Silent Hill 2. I'd even say Silent Hill 4 was really good.
I enjoyed that too, yeah.
Really
yeah, despite
Silent
its
Hill
difficulty,
4.
it definitely maxed out on the creep factor too.
Yeah, I'm not going to diss Downpour and Homecoming because they all bring
They had issues, yeah.
They had their issues, but they all bring in their own little bits.
Yeah.
You know, which as a Silent Hill fan, you're just going with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just want to say thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Friday looking at another video game. Of course, film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.